Hello all, this is JC3 from Is This Real? Do you want to start your own podcast? Then look no further than Buzzsprout.com. We here at Green Hour Media use Buzzsprout, and we love the team at Buzzsprout. They are all about helping you succeed. Buzzsprout gets your show listed in every major podcast platform. Follow the link in our show notes to let Buzzsprout know that we sent you. It gets you a $20 paid Amazon gift card if you sign up with a paid plan and helps support our show. Join us and over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout.com to get your message out to the world. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Is This Real podcast. We are back for another week of Is This Real. We have Dad in the booth. We have Eric in the booth. Josh,
Hey, Ryu West. I'm introducing myself as Ryu West from now on.
Joshua.
How are you, Ryu?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. Hadouken.
Unfortunately, this week we do not have Roadblock with us.
Where is that fucker?
Roadblock decided to, just sit back this week because a couple of different reasons. We had previous plans for this week's episode, but they fell through. So this week we are doing... Basically, it's just election shit. Talking about the election.
And we can get some stuff out too. Some conspiracy theories of different shit if we want. Because basically, the conspiracy
I can't believe that this is real right now.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be some theories that will be put out tonight that are going on right now. And we're talking about, we are now on the third day from the election. It still hasn't been called.
Yes.
And there's a lot of theories as to, bad ballots, no ballots, ballots by dead men. But before we start the show, I just want to say one thing. When we do go down that rabbit hole, my grandfather, who I love, my best friend, I love him dearly, he got his ballot about 4 weeks ago.
Wait, really? Pop got a ballot?
My grandfather got his ballot, and I'm sure he'd be totally excited if he wasn't dead for 20 fucking years. Okay, so I don't know where they got their name from. So, when you go on TV and you see these people are saying, well, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, well,
I can tell you firsthand it happens.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Dead people. Okay, we'll just jump right into it then. Dead people have been getting ballots for this election.
Tons.
That's fucking crazy. Because
yeah.
my uncle has passed away back in the year that we graduated, 2013. So 7 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I've heard of him getting a ballot in the mail, but that'd be crazy if he did get one and nobody told me anything about that, because that's pretty spooky.
So we're jumping off at
I can't believe that that's real.
Yeah, is this real?
Is this real?
We're jumping off right now. And for the second, I'll just get back to the brief. For the second reason, obviously there was a scare this week with me and COVID. I tested negative, but we're still keeping our precautions.
We are still following CDC precautions.
Yes.
Right now, I am in the booth with a mask, but you can't tell or hear it, but I do have my face covered now.
And we are separated by glass. They're on the other side of the booth. I'm here by myself.
He's isolated.
Yes. And I'm going to go straight to my room and...
Like a good boy that you are.
Hopefully clean the fucking thing.
Fuck
Jesus
you.
Christ.
But
that's why your fish died, bro.
Fuck you. So right now, the Associated Press has not called the race. But as we sit...
That's freaking crazy.
Joe Biden's still at 264, but Donald Trump is at still at 214.
I thought it was 215 or something like that.
No. So over the last couple of days, there's 5 states they have not called yet. It is Alaska, Nevada, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. Mm-hmm. Now.
And they're saying right now that the only way that Trump can win is if he wins in all of those states.
Yeah, he needs to take them all. But the difference here is now election day was what, 3 days ago?
The 3rd, yes.
And we're sitting here on the 6th. Now this is going to be cast on Sunday night, so it's going to be the 8th. Hopefully by then the race will be called and more shit will be added, but
don't worry. This race is you're gonna be able to do 10 podcasts before you find a new president or an old president.
Okay,
trust me. We've been down this road.
So
20
right
years
now,
ago.
In Alaska, they have not called Alaska. Donald Trump is up, which it's 50% reporting. Donald Trump is up 62% with a 118,000 vote count, when Joe Biden only has 33.5 and he has 63,000, basically 64,000 votes. So if that's at 50%, which means there's only about 500,000 people voting in Alaska, for as big as that fucking state is.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because it's a very, very, very like spacious state. So I'm pretty sure that not a lot of people live. So you get paid to live in Alaska. If you didn't know that,
Nevada is at 87%, and Joe Biden is up by. It looks like 23,000 votes.
Yeah, but there's a problem in Nevada. Okay,
so we'll go state by state then.
All right, Clark County, Nevada is in the bottom of the state, and that's where
that's like Las Vegas.
It's Las Vegas and its surrounding areas.
Yeah, so basically, the two states, the two counties that are really just Biden, because you look at the state, it's basically all red, except for two counties. And those two counties, which two big cities are in Nevada, you have Vegas on the bottom.
Yes.
And you have Reno in the top left.
Okay.
Those are the only two counties that are blue.
It's funny because I think like New York State is something like that too, where it's just like because New York City is so densely populated that's the main reason why.
Well, you look at all these states,
the entire state is like blue.
I'll look at Pennsylvania right now. Now, he is up. Biden is up by now 20,000 votes in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Most of the state is blue. Big name towns.
No, most of the state is red.
Most of the state is red. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like I was doing workout in PA before I got injured, and like all I saw was just Trump signs.
Most of the
big banners and everything.
Big name cities though, Pittsburgh, Erie, Allentown, Philadelphia, all blue.
Oh, so Erie, my girlfriend's from Erie.
Yeah, you're getting very large cities. That's where the Biden votes are coming from.
Well, they're going to love
urban areas,
right? It's no mystery. Fuck
mysteria.
Remember, English is not our specialty on this show.
That's going to be on the back of our t-shirts. English is not our specialty.
It's not you're going to get. The black vote is always going to be Democratic, and I have an issue with that. Usually. And I know I'm going to say this, and people are going to say, "Well, it's a racist way of looking at it." Well, you can call me racist. I am not afraid of that word. I know what I am. Most of my friends are friends of color, so you know what? Fuck
people
off.
Of color.
He's not a racist.
Okay,
he's not a racist.
I don't give.
I mean, if he was a racist, if we were racist, you wouldn't be sitting here.
I am one too. So I don't know.
So again, here's the thing. The black people in this country, and when Biden made that comment, if you don't vote for me, well, you're not black. People should have stopped and listened to that because that's what they think of the black people. They think of for 30, 50, 60 fucking years, whatever it is, these son of a bitches, the Democratic Party, have used the black people as their pawns. We feel so much. We're going to do this. Hillary Clinton come out and asked her what was in her purse. She said, "Oh, I carry hot sauce." Well, you carry hot sauce.
Say that, yes.
You carry hot sauce in your pocketbook, and you're in Harlem.
Didn't she try to say that too with a
laughing? Yeah,
a laughing.
Oh, she's like fucking. She's a scumbag.
And she tried to do it like in a fictitious ghetto accent or something like that.
They're all ghetto when it comes to the vote, and they. If you allow them to do that to you, if the black people allow these rich white snobs to use you in a way like that, well, then you get what you get. I don't want to hear you complain that in 50 years I voted, nothing happened. Well, you know what? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. You're never going to get a different result because what you're doing is they don't care about you, okay? They don't care about your children. They don't care about your education, but they do care about your vote, okay? And they're going to
care about your pockets too.
They're going to tell you, they're going to say, well, we'll give you this, we'll give you that, and every once in a while they'll throw a bone in the form of some kind of they'll pass some kind of social program. They give somebody something for nothing, and it pisses me off. If you do that, I'm sorry to say, but if you are black and you do that and you let somebody take advantage of you just because of your skin color, well, then you know what? You get what you deserve. Maybe you are fucking stupid. And that's not because you're black. It's because you're fucking stupid.
Well, it's the same thing with Georgia right now. I'm looking at the map of Georgia. Most of the state is red.
That'd be nuts.
I know. So most of the state is red. Big name cities, though, blue. Atlanta, all blue. Athens, blue.
And then it's just like how Dad repeated, where it was just like, you don't see. It's not like. It's not It's not a fake pattern right now. Like oh, is this real? Is this a coincidence? It's really not. Like you're seeing in a lot of big democratic state or cities that it's always just blue, and then that's what drives most of that vote right there. Which in a way, it's not fair. In a
what
way.
pisses me off about the whole voting system to begin with, I'm looking at Arizona right now. Arizona.
Should we explain how the voting system works?
Yeah.
Because some of our viewers aren't in this country.
So let's look up the voting system here. I'll read it from the book, and you can debunk it.
No, I'm not going to debunk it. I mean, it's right there for you to see. It's a national voting. You have a national. You're voting for a president, right, and you're voting for Congress, and you're voting for the Senate.
Okay, so this says in the Electoral College system, each state gets a certain number of electors based on its total number of representatives in Congress.
And then I know the two in the Senate. So it's the two in the Senate plus however many people are in the House. Mm-hmm. That's how many electoral votes that they can get for that state.
So each elector casts one electoral vote following the general election. There are a total of 538 electoral votes. The candidate that gets more than half, which is 270, wins the election. Mm-hmm. The problem with this, though.
So in other words, that's just like I cast my vote. Whoever I vote for. Then it goes to a certain amount. It goes to then a certain person, and then based on however many votes came in from a county, let's say.
You know, you got to put a certain amount. Say like you get 10,000 Biden votes. Each state doesn't go by electoral. Each state goes by the vote. So if in this state we've had more Biden votes, well then the prize is I think it's 6 that Jersey has. I could be wrong.
No, Jersey has 14.
14? Yeah. Well then they get the 14. Now, the problem with that is you got all from basically the Raritan River to Cape May is basically Republican in this state.
Yeah.
But you have no major cities. You got the only major city you'll have Trenton, and you're going to have right around Philadelphia, that area down there. I can't remember the name. Camden. Now, they're going to go urban. They're going to go Democratic. But that's enough to throw everything out. Now, my solution to this whole situation is very simple. You have 27 counties in your state. Each county is broken down. Well, you know, that's what they want to say. When you go to this county, you get more. Like if you go to Passaic County, you're going to be more Biden than say you would in Ocean County, which is totally red. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Now, if you win the county, that should be one vote for you, one electoral vote towards the red candidate. So that would stop this urban bullshit where you hunkered down people in the city, and just because you want to live on a farm in the middle of the thing and there's less people in your area, your vote doesn't mean as much as those people in the city. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you got now I know people are gonna say, well, if you live out in buttfuck Arkansas and you have you got 10 people
buttfuck Arkansas,
and you have 10 people.
I don't know. We have Google to find that out.
Well, you have 10 people in your county. You know, if that goes red, then you should get 1 point.
No, I agree with you.
It could be you can get, if you have 500 counties in a state, you can come up with 500, but it doesn't matter. It's still going to be who gets the most amount of electoral votes, or abandon the whole fucking thing and then just go simply popular vote.
Yeah,
but if you go popular vote, you're gonna lose anyway. Definitely gonna lose.
Yeah, if you go popular vote, then it doesn't even matter because at that point you have to then like how he's saying with cities, you'd have to just target the most densely populated states at that point, which would have to be California, Texas, and New York.
Well, that's my problem with everything though.
And if you win those three. And if we're gonna go based on just popular vote, you just have to go for those 3 states, and then after that you win the election.
So my problem is the electoral votes to begin with. Like even when Trump won, I think electoral votes and how they separate it is ridiculous to me, because you just need certain states and that's it. Like you look at this map of what the country looks like right now, mostly red.
I was gonna say a lot of it is red. A
lot
of the country is very red.
The north, like you have your common areas. The West Coast, all blue. The upper East Coast, like from Virginia all the way up to Maine, all blue.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
And then you have the basically the cheeseheads, Wisconsin, Michigan, shit like that.
Illinois,
they're blue. And then everything else besides Colorado, and Colorado was going to go blue. You know it already.
Yeah. I guess so, because with the whole like weed thing.
I never expected this whole race turned on a dime the minute they called Arizona. Mm-hmm. And I looked at your mother that night and I said, you know what? Arizona's a problem, because I know it's only 11 electoral. 11. Okay. That was the one that was going to pivot whether he needed Michigan or he needed Florida, which we knew he was going to get Florida anyway. Once it hit the panhandle, it was over. We knew he had Texas. All right, you got 38 in Texas.
Well, yeah, the guy turned around.
He needed Arizona. And once that went, that allowed Biden now to pick up Nevada.
Yeah.
Okay. And now all Biden had to do was just add Michigan, which he did. And he wasn't, they were supposed to be in play.
Wisconsin too, right?
Wisconsin, Michigan, they were supposed to be in play.
The funny part is
never in play.
Michigan was red for a very long while.
Right. What's funny is that I'm not really very into politics like that, but it surprised me that when I heard that Arizona was mostly a blue state, I kind of pictured them more of a more of a conservative mind state.
90% of the time, I believe they aren't they? Arizona's usually a red state.
But then you have what's the biggest there? Phoenix.
Yeah, the big cities in Arizona.
Flagstaff, Phoenix.
The big cities in Arizona, again, mostly red. They're mostly red, and it's looking like in Arizona right now there's 4 counties that have not been called.
Okay.
Just yet.
Okay.
And Donald Trump is losing by 20,000.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey, Ryan. Hi, this is Sarah Palin.
Ryan, Donald Trump Jr.
Hogs to win, see you. Hey, everybody, I want y'all to check out a fellow Marines podcast.
My name is Ted Nugent, and I got a call from my buddy Ryan F. Samuels, and he wants me to tell you that he's a working hard, playing all-American son of a who is celebrating God, family, country.
Welcome to the Ryan Samuels Show, one of the top political podcasts in the United States, where we have a healthy distrust for government and mainstream media. The Ryan Samuels Show is a raw, unfiltered look at American politics.
That's a lot to make up in 4 counties.
With 90% of the voting done.
That's a lot to make up. And now where are those counties? Are they Democrat counties or are they Republican?
No, they're all red. They're all red, which means he's winning. The only county that's blue that hasn't. I'm sorry, it was 5 counties. The only county that hasn't been called that's blue is the one that Phoenix is in.
Phoenix is urban.
That's the thing.
Is this real?
That's the thing. But what pisses me off is the calling process. How do you call something when not all the votes are in to begin with?
Yeah, and then we were talking about this earlier, how it doesn't make sense that election day was the last day, I'm guessing, to have your mail, your votes, to turn in your ballots. But then it doesn't make sense. How are you gonna get those ballots delivered and sent on time to be counted for if they're still being mailed that day?
Yeah, that was my whole problem with mail-in voting.
Well, they wanted, according to, I think it was Michigan, Pennsylvania, and I believe it was one of the states. If you postmarked it on that Sunday, in other words, you put it in the mail, and when it got to the mail, they postmarked it before midnight. Then you were able to have it counted for the next 3 days. And I see your point, because you know what? You have an election day for a reason.
Yeah.
You should. But then people say, well, he got a postmark, which means he did vote on the day, but it didn't get in here. And if you're not going to have the other ones counted,
and then
what does it matter?
And then it's not going to turn up for another few days. So then that's why it's going to further delay the process.
Exactly.
At least looking at it from the outside in, because again, I'm not connected at all with this political shit.
I know.
You know.
But that's the best type. That's the best way to be sometimes, because honest questions come from that.
Yeah, that's why I
study this shit, so I can tell you, and again, anything I say, don't believe it. Don't believe a fucking word I say. Do your own homework.
Always question, is it real?
Always question whatever anybody tells you, not just me.
But see, that's the thing, though. Like I was telling him, we need more people like him who's not connected to. I want more people who don't give a shit who wins. Because I want them to count the votes, because they're going to be the most honest. They're not going to.
Yeah, but how many of them people are there?
I guarantee there's
Eric
a
do
lot.
all the voting in every state.
Let's do it, Eric.
We can't do another fucking podcast. You won't be here for a couple of months.
I'm just gonna have to just.
Do you know how much you'll get paid though?
Listen. This is where I'm just gonna.
More than this gig, I can tell you that much.
Listen, all I have to do is just break into the Hokage's office and just steal his scroll, so I can practice just doing shadow clones. And I just got clones of myself going everywhere in every state. And we have genuine, honest questions. Hey, how does this work? Excuse me, Mr. Redneck. How does this work? I'm sorry, I'm on your property. Please don't shoot me.
So if we ever do start giving salaries out on this show, you got to make sure it comes with some kind of medical help, because I'm telling you right now, man.
My problem, my problem with the whole thing is now the pictures in Philadelphia.
Too much acid, guys. Too much acid.
The pictures in Philadelphia with the people wearing Biden-Harris masks. Mm-hmm. Don't be so blatant. If you're gonna vote one way, that's fine. But if you're counting votes, don't be blatant about it.
Right. And one woman, they had a video of the woman. She's sitting there looking around like this, and she looks down at the ballot, and she does this. Put the ballot in the thing. One vote for Biden. You can't do that. You know, that's another thing. You can't go to any fucking Walmart in this country and not walk 5 feet and have a camera on you. There's a camera everywhere. You can't even
sticking the camera up your ass.
Okay, so then, like when you go to Walmart, if you look above, even Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, you look above. There's a camera right on the register.
Oh yeah.
Well, what the fuck? If you're gonna do this and we're gonna spend the money, then I want a camera on every fucking one. Then you won't have to worry about a person sitting next to you or sitting in 6 feet.
No, fuck that.
The Republicans can sit in a room and jerk each other off. The Democrats can suck each other off in the other room, and that'll be it.
No, fuck that. You want to do that? You put two people at a thing. Mm-hmm. Have them both check each other. People who are voting. You have, all right, this is your ballot cast. You have a Republican and you have a Democrat. Let them sit there and go through the ballots, and they're going to make each other honest. Because if not, you're going to have a fucking fight on your hands.
Well, how about doing this? Here's one for you. We got computers, okay? Everybody's got a fucking computer. Some have 5, some have 10 in their houses. Why can't we make it where you don't have to go? Don't worry. I know the big thing this year was, you got to go out to COVID, because they made that. The COVID came along for a reason, and that was to make you afraid to go outside and vote in person. So they pushed this fucking ballot thing, which this is, now dead people are getting ballots, and people that live in Arizona are getting ballots when they actually live in Jersey. Okay, so what we do is, you go online, you log in like you would do anything else. You log into your bank. You can real time.
You set up a username and password.
Right. So they know who you are
with special characters.
You have to put your social security number in there. That right there. That stops illegal immigration fraud. Okay.
That works. Yeah. That'll be your username.
Okay. If you want to vote, you have to vote online, and then in real time, which means you don't have to wait 3 days, 5 days after the election. In real fucking time, at the end of the day, at 7:59, a little buzzer goes off on the top of the screen going, you have 1 minute to vote. And when that's done,
I have a question
they lock the fucking computer.
You're right.
And it's done.
Okay, hold on.
Or at least lock the website or something.
But here's the thing, though. What about the people who don't have access to computers?
That's where public schools and libraries come in.
What about mom and papa? Mom and papa don't have a computer in their house. They have internet access in the house.
They got you guys.
All right, then they go. Then they'll do what they always did. Go to the polling place. Go. That'll eliminate. It'll take the
have
people.
The computer at the polling place.
Yeah, there you go.
Have the polling. Have the box where you go in and do it. But have that on the same system as this. Okay, Joe. If you do that, doing it online, you're not going out for COVID. You're not going to go outside. You're sitting home. You don't have to fill anything out and write it out. You fill it out on the thing and hit send.
And we look
that's what you want to do in this country.
As much as we know here, we know how untrustworthy post office people are.
Whenever there's an agenda at stake, people will try something. Now, I'm not saying the post office was wrong or there was people doing it. I don't know for a fact, but I can tell you this much: what I do know. Okay. In 2016, this whole country was turned upside down. All you heard for a year and a half, Hillary, she's the greatest thing. She had her
election was stolen.
Her what do you call those things? Rallies, just as big as Trump's were. She was on every TV. She was the most.
She had Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Right. She had everything she wanted.
I hate both of them.
Most popular candidate we've ever had.
Wow.
Joe Biden, 4 years later, stays in his basement, doesn't do any campaigning.
Sniffing children.
Somehow comes up with the most amount of votes ever.
as it stands in the popular vote,
bullshit.
I'm looking at it right now.
It's bullshit.
The vote count for Joe Biden is 74,421,065.
Personally,
the vote count for Trump is 70,297,150.
Personally, like we were talking about earlier, again, it's just, to me, it's just a little iffy and a little fishy and a little just sniffy, because I just had to make it rhyme, Dr.
Do you
Seuss.
have any more adjectives you want to throw in?
No.
Dr. Seuss. Let's go.
I'm okay. We do share a birthday.
One bitch, two bitch, dead bitch, new bitch.
Anyways, I feel like the main big issue with that is just like, or not the main big issue, is just like something that's very questionable is just like, why is it that you have so many people trying to push this Joe Biden guy to be in the office?
Well,
because again, I've never seen, again, I'm not into politics or anything like that, but again, from what I've seen, I've never seen a former president be so involved in this to push this man who was his vice president.
There's a couple reasons why, in my opinion.
And I feel like there's just a lot of like conspiracy into that.
There's a couple reasons why, in my opinion. One, the biggest overall is I think Biden had the best chance of beating Trump out of all the people who ran. The second reason is, and
I guess
the reason why Obama pushed him so much is because still to this day, now you're 4 years out of the Obama administration, people still love that president like he's God.
Of course. No, of course. And then that's why just, to me, it makes it a little more suspicious as to like, okay, you have this man that was formerly in this administration that's being pushed so heavily by a president. And again, in everything that, from what I've heard with you guys talking about politics, I've never heard of anything like this ever happening.
Well, in 2016, Obama did stump for Hillary a lot. He did.
Yeah, because she was the Secretary of State
right.
for his administration.
He did more for Hillary than he did for. He got in the game late with Joe Biden. He got in the game only recently, a month ago, and actually did. I think he did Florida one, he did Michigan another, and then they were together. I think in somewhere in Pennsylvania for one. So he only did 3 for Joe.
My favorite meme so far. It's Obama leading into Biden and says, "Joe, you're winning," and Biden goes, "Winning what?"
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hello, nerds. Come listen to the History Nerds United podcast, and let's make history fun again. We interview today's best authors, whether they are established Pulitzer Prize winners or someone debuting their first book. Let us show you that history is not a boring class you took in high school, but a place where the best stories come from. And we don't just cover history, we also love to chat about true crime, biographies, memoirs, and so much more. So head on over to History Nerds United and let us introduce you to your new favorite book and learn the story behind the story.
History Nerds United.
Yeah, it's so he did do more. He did do more stumping for Hillary, but that's my point. All of this stuff was pointing to Hillary. She was through the roof, man. Everybody was going to vote for her. Everybody loved her. This was that. They never expected the poison pill to come along, Trump, and then it hit in right and hit people where they, look, you got to stop the bullshit. We got to stop the bleeding, giving money away to foreign nationals. We have to do what we have to do for our country first, and that's when he won the election. Now, how does the people that loved her so much, there was millions of people, but yet somehow they didn't cast the votes that Joe Biden got?
I can't buy that. Look,
sorry.
I think there's a difference here also. I think when you look at that, is the person closest to Bernie Sanders is Biden.
Although he'll tell you no, but yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And there's the major difference because Bernie Sanders has a following.
Oh yeah,
he has a very cold, narcissistic,
the thing with,
socialistic following.
The thing with
that I'm not gonna lie, I was victim to at one point because I love weed so much and I thought he would be so good, but then
that's the thing about our generation though. Our generation looked like, especially like you and I. I'm not your generation. Like you're 40 years down the road. Our generation, Wes and I, we sat there and like most of the people in our generation looked at Bernie Sanders like, oh, he's gonna give us free college, he's gonna pay off our student debt.
Yeah, but then the other problem is that the reason why people in our generation liked Bernie or still love Bernie a lot is because we're very, what is it? I think who the fuck said this shit? Socialism is nice to the individual because it's very compassionate at theory.
Yeah.
And it draws a lot of people to it. But then the problem with it is that you've seen in countries in the past is that it doesn't.
Well, now Venezuela,
it doesn't fucking work. And then the problem is that, like, in our generation, we are not living through fighting a very controlling ideology.
Well, see, that's
we just have the history of it from Dad's generation because he fucking grew up Cold War and shit like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Our generation, we're pampered.
Yeah,
with all the technology we have.
I've heard stories. Like I work in doing HVAC, and I work with in the city with a lot of Eastern Europeans, and I've heard a lot of stories from people escaping the Soviet Union. People were being shot at for trying to leave this country.
Yeah.
They were being shot at just because they didn't want to be there anymore. And when you sit back and think about something like that, think about like you trying to escape into Canada and you're literally getting shot at.
Yeah,
getting into Canada or going into Mexico.
That's the thing. Like
people have not lived through that to tell
our generation
to tell you how horrible that is.
Our generation is very selfish. We don't think of the future for ourselves. We just think of what we want right now.
Yeah, but there's a reason for that. Okay, and it all started in the 60s. Now, there was a great movement in the 60s, the Peace and Love movement, Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco. These are
the same guys that wanted to revolted in the college at Berkeley College for the Vietnam thing.
Yes, they didn't want the Vietnam War, and you know what? The hippies. Again, you can call them hippies, you can call them what they want. They had a point. Okay, the Vietnam War was pointless, and and history proved them correct. You wasted thousands and thousands of lives, not just of U.S. but of the Koreans. I mean, the Vietnamese. These are people that didn't have to die. Now.
In horrible ways, by the way, too, because we were doing so much vicious shit out there.
I'm going to tell you, we're talking about the Kennedy episode that's going to be in a couple of weeks. This all started with John Kennedy, but not like you think. Okay, John Kennedy was kind of basically Donald Trump.
Light.
No, Donald Trump, but with a I don't care what you think of me. With Donald Trump, he does have an ego. He wants you to, I did the best, I did this, I did that. Oh my God, shut up. I don't like people that tell me how they did it. Just don't tell me about the pain. Show me the baby. Okay, I don't want to hear about it. And John Kennedy got in by the skin of his ass. He beat Richard Nixon. He should never beat him.
Yep.
But he did.
Thank you, Mafia.
Okay. He was a president that was basically
trying to go home tonight.
He did not want to give us the war in Vietnam. Okay, McNamara, who was the Secretary of Defense, wanted us to go into war, to send people over there. So what Kennedy did was he had sent. Well, the advisors basically were sent in by. What's his name? The president before him, which escapes my,
Ford?
No.
It's
oh my God,
Nixon.
59.
Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Eisenhower
sent in.
Wasn't he the general in World War II?
Yes. Eisenhower sent in advisors into Vietnam to see what's going on, what they wanted. Kennedy signed a memorandum to pull them out. He wanted them out of it. He says, look, it's their war. They got to win it. We're not going to help them. We got our own problems. We don't need to help them. All right. And what happened with that was if he would have lived, if he would have not gotten shot and killed, but that's another episode. If he would have survived and ran for a second time, there would have been no Vietnam. Okay. There would have been no Richard Nixon. He would have never been able to run again. His vice president would have been in prison. But because that didn't happen, okay, we were allowed to go to war in Vietnam, and then that spawned on protests from the younger generation, anti-government protests.
So pretty much what we're seeing right now.
Those people that were protesting in the 60s saw people at Kent State get killed, saw Dr. King when he went through. You want to talk about a person who was misaligned and ridiculed and hurt at every corner, but never raised his hand in violence? Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King should be a fucking saint.
He was deemed what was it, a rapist? Or,
they tried everything with him.
The thing with that is, I heard that he got death threats from the FBI while he was in prison or jail.
You know what the fucked up part about that?
And they still killed him.
His daughter Alveda, I think her name is, right? She's a Trump supporter.
Great, I love her. I think she's just a sweetheart. And getting back to that though, those people that witnessed that, those kids, at 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, well, they went on to have children of their own. Okay,
the circle of life.
Those children were now told, this is what the government did. Don't believe the government. The government's bad. The government's this. The government's that. So now those kids
have more kids.
Had their kids. Their kids are the little kids that are in school now. That generation is the one that are the 20-year-olds out there. Your generation are the ones that are being raised by these guys, and these are the ones that are saying, the country's bad. We're going to protest. You owe us this. We want to be socialists. The government should work for the people.
Well,
that's not how it's supposed to be.
It's a combination of a lot, though. It's a combination of the previous generations, their mindset and stuff like that, and it's a combination of now being told that the government's racist and this is racist and everything is racist. Now we have to cancel everything. And then the cancel movement in this country is so fucked up.
And then on top of it too, it's just like the comparison to other socialistic capitalistic countries. What is it, like Switzerland or Sweden, where their system works because their country is literally like a third of New York City.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't see it that way.
Exactly.
Like everybody's
open enough to acknowledge that, like, okay, yes, let's say the whole socialist thing does get pushed, then it's gonna suck for people like me, you, and you, because that extra fucking we get taxed 12-15%. Imagine getting taxed 60% of your check going straight to fucking schools schools, hospitals, and all that good shit. And you're just like, well, at least it's going for the better good.
If you look at what people are saying,
you're broke, bro.
Yeah. If you look at what people are saying, though, is that according to Biden's plan, that's just going towards the rich. The rich are being taxed 60%.
How many people make $400,000 a year?
Not a lot.
Okay, so anybody that's taxed over $400,000 are going to get this tax, but he's going to repeal the tax cut. By repealing the tax cut, the taxes are going to go up. This is common sense shit.
Yeah.
But then on top of that too is that people that the reason why the rich stay rich is because a lot of people like me and you, the common blue collar workers, are not taught about the tax loopholes that's legally in the tax code.
Oh yeah,
and
the same shit that Trump's doing.
Exactly,
that Trump has done over the years.
And the reason I actually had to explain this to my parents, that like the reason why he gets these big ass tax benefits, the same thing how like Jeff Bezos pretty much pays $0 in tax because of Amazon, is because when you provide a service for the government, aka providing jobs and housing for people, they give you a very, very big tax lien for shit like that, because you're pretty much making their job a lot easier. And then on top of it too, people don't understand that when you donate your money to charities, like how a lot of these rich people do, that is also a very big tax write-off. So at the end of the year, these rich people are only reporting $100,000, the bare minimum, or whatever the fuck they want to report, and that's why he is legally allowed to pay only $700 in tax every year.
Exactly.
But yet that's wrong. The only reason that's wrong is because me and you were not taught those benefits.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the only reason that's wrong. So the system itself isn't it's fucked up, but it's not like 100% fucked up, because the information is out there. It's just that it's tucked away unless you want to look for it.
But if you look at it, is it fucked up though? Honestly, is it fucked up? Like, regardless of if their taxes say one thing, they're still putting out money to charities, regardless of if it's $1 million, it's still $1 million fucking dollars.
At heart, I will say that the system is not fucked up, and it sounds weird for me to say this, but because I look at it from, this country is a free market capitalistic country, and the idea of capitalism is that me and you can take this little podcast and make something out of it, and that's freaking beautiful. It's fucking beautiful. Yeah. And when you have shit like that just taken away from you, it's just fucked up. It's just fucked up, and then you understand why people are fighting for said certain freedoms, or why people would believe in Donald Trump, because he's doing shit that, like, okay, coincides with these values that you have.
Right. It's not even that, though. It's just staying core to the Constitution. And yes. One thing I hate when people do is when they turn around and say like this. I'll say
I'm a patriot. I love the idea of America.
This is one thing that
I can't say this shit in China, bro. And we have Chinese listeners. I love you, Chinese people. I love you. I don't love your government. I said it.
The one thing that I think is fucked up about people who talk about the amendments and the Constitution is, and this will be on another episode, but I just want to touch it a little bit right here. When they turn around and say, "Oh, the Second Amendment was for militia and people who they were using muskets and stuff like that. It wasn't something for AR-15s."
No, well, I mean,
time out.
I mean,
if that's the case, then you're free. Then your health care that you're provided, it's not going to be modern day health care. Then it's going to be the health care provided back then. So, do you just want the tools they were using back then?
I'm sorry, I don't want to get my arm amputated just because I have a because I have a cut. I'm sorry, I don't want that.
That's the problem. If you're gonna keep that standard, then it has to be throughout the entire thing.
I look at it too as just like they wrote that because I have a feeling that, like, when they wrote that back then, they knew that this country has a beautiful thing going for it, and it's gonna get corrupted at one point, and people are gonna find the same corruption, the same thing that we're witnessing today. And it's just like, and it is kind of like an internal, like, revolution, you can say, going on within itself.
I believe we're going to go to a civil war at some point.
The reason why they put the Second Amendment in there is basically because, what the founding fathers were afraid of was the fact that, you're going to have a beautiful country and you're going to have things going your way, but you want to get it too crazy. You don't want the government to run away and start making their own laws and start changing the laws of the Constitution to squash the little people. So the little people are allowed to carry weapons. They're allowed, and even in the text, it says a well-armed militia. In other words, they know that if you're doing something against the country and the little people want to fight back, they have a right to fight back. Because if the government comes after you, if the government decides tomorrow that they're going to take over, they're not coming after you with 38s. They're not coming after you with fucking pea shooters.
And they're not coming after you with musket guns.
They're coming after you with AK-47s. They're coming after you with tanks.
Fucking drones, bro. You think I could fight a fucking buzzard in the fucking sky being controlled by an Xbox 360 controller?
The more technology,
musket.
The more technology goes on their side.
And it got a bayonet too.
Well, it's got to be on.
Missiles got a bayonet. You can't. How can you fight some shit like that?
No, but that's the thing. Like, and that's what people don't understand. When
they understand it. They just don't give a shit because all they want.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, with Biden,
we are pampered.
The problem with voting for Biden is Biden's not going to make this term.
Well, look, I don't like the guy either, but I don't want to see him die.
No.
He's going to be the president. You got to give him that respect.
No. I'm not saying like he's not gonna. I'm not saying he's gonna die. I think there's going to be something happen where they're going to turn around and say Biden is not mentally capable.
Oh, no doubt.
Of fulfilling this role.
That is already in works, and the reason I say that is because, a month ago, they decided they were going to fuck around with the 25th Amendment. Now, the 25th Amendment is, it's in the Constitution. If the president is not up to his capabilities or he's sick, the Congress then has a right to take him out.
Yes.
Okay. So, and then even Nancy Pelosi, when she was on the patio, and these got to give you chills down your spine what this bitch is thinking. Okay. She's even thinking. And I know this was pushed by AOC and Omar Iliam and all those four radical nitwits who really are nothing but treasonous bitches. It's enough for this another show. These guys. Is that real? She said this for a reason.
Snap.
This isn't. We're not doing this because of Donald Trump. We're doing this for future presidents. That future president is the guy who's running for president today. He's the guy that might be your next president, and it looks like he's on his way of being the next president. Okay, and he's going to be 78 years old. Now, you got to ask yourself, why would this country, why would the Democrats, with all these young people in the Democratic Party, Why would they put up a 78-year-old man
that sniffs children?
Okay, that sniffs kids. He's got a 47-year record of badness. He hasn't done anything.
And sniffing children.
His criminal law that he wrote in 1991 basically almost took all the black people and destroyed them. Okay,
yeah, with Bill Clinton, right?
He's a fucking racist. Okay. And
because if you're black and you don't vote for him, you're not black.
Well,
and those were his words.
Yeah, look at the back in the 70s, he used to. There's pictures and videos of him in a parade with Robert Byrd. Robert Byrd was a segregationist, a Democratic segregationist, Ku Klux Klan member that was from South Carolina. And Hillary Clinton, he's my mentor. And then this nitwit, this is a Biden character. He's in pictures with him. He's in fucking pictures.
And then you have Biden saying that he doesn't want his children going to school in a racial jungle.
Called all the black kids, I think in Chicago or something, super predators.
Didn't Hillary Clinton say the same thing?
Yeah. So these are things that they're said, but the mainstream media in this country doesn't say it. They don't tell you this.
And his plan with blah 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 blah.
Well, because on top
that video.
on top of it, it's just it sucks. But the mainstream media is owned by a lot of these people that want to push these agendas.
Oh, no doubt.
Oh yeah,
it sucks. It really fucking sucks, and it really does.
That's why you have a lot of people.
Allegedly, I'm sorry. Allegedly. I want to go home tonight.
You have a lot of people who think of one way.
Hillary waiting outside. Go, what'd you say, motherfucker?
with her musket.
Allegedly.
With her musket.
But yeah, you have a lot of people who want to think that way, and I think with more people now with AOC and Omar,
I feel like people are afraid of the truth.
You have no idea.
You think?
There's a
problem. There's going to be a problem with the future country, because I see a lot of people now pushing AOC next president 2024.
AOC,
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
She has no chance.
She is a chick that is Congress? No,
she's a congresswoman.
Yeah, congresswoman from New
York.
Okay,
she's the one pushing these.
She's like our age.
She's the one that's pushing these.
Like 20. I think she's like 30 something.
Yeah, but you got to be like 35 to run for president.
No, she's yeah. You're right. You have to. She can't. Yeah.
Not unless they repeal that. If Biden gets in,
they're not going to. First of all, this year, if there was one good thing that came out of it, is when Congress lost 5 fucking seats. When the Democrats lost 5 seats to Republicans,
and because what we gained a Supreme Court justice.
People don't want this radical socialist shit, and they think that was the reason. They're tired of it. They could have given her those 5 people.
Well, but
they're tired of it. They're afraid of it.
Omar and 2 other girls, they turn around and they believe that the Constitution we have should be updated to fit the country today.
You know, that sounds. Listen, I'm not good with politics, but I've kind of heard that in history books before, and you know what happens after that? I think something like a dictatorship happens or something like that.
Before we go on, I gotta say
military control, martial law, but then, how well do you think martial law would really work in this country?
It wouldn't last at all.
No, there'd be a civil war.
It wouldn't last at all. It would be. You can't. We're having a problem now with this jerk off down in Trenton imposing his will on everybody in the state. Can you imagine if he said, well, you got to be in by 8 o'clock? People will be sitting outside till fucking 11 o'clock at night. They're not going to listen to this guy. Okay? Before we go on, I got to say, you keep saying that, well, I don't know much about politics. I'm here to tell you know more than you think you do. Because when I hear you talk, you don't give the props just to give them. You're not picking a side to give them. Now, you are a Spanish person, so
indeed,
and these people now will tell you
Hispanic?
that you have to have a certain way of voting because you're Hispanic.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know what?
Heard that one before.
You are a free thinker, my friend. You think for yourself. You ask questions when you want to ask questions. You do your own research, and there's a lot more going on in that head than you think. A lot more space in the head, but you're starting to fill it up slowly.
Well, I mean, the space.
It's like water, bro. It's like water.
The space is being filled up with like
I think that, you know, and bringing him into the podcast was like the best idea we had, him and Josh, because it gives us, you know, I'm sitting here, and if you notice, there's a couple of times I just sat here and shut up, you know, because I want to say it, but he's got a better way of saying it.
The funny part is that me and Eric have had conversations like this over the years.
That's why I respect. That's why like we've stayed friends too, because like even though we have a different way of thinking sometimes, I guess politically or whatever, like we still sit down and at least do what like,
because friendship is first, politics is just what runs the country.
Not only that, but it's just like I also respect his opinion and try to hear where he comes from, and maybe you know, learn something on my own. Well, you know,
that's the thing. Like I've done the same thing with him. We don't sit there and be like, oh, you know, if you think that way, I can't be friends with you. I turn around and was like, oh, okay, Eric, I could see it that way. And he does the same thing.
You vote red. I can't be your friend, bro. Like, what the fuck?
Like you, like in those. I'll tell you one story.
Elephant.
One story. One story. You're a fucking asshole, you goddamn donkey. There was this one story about freshman year in high school. Now, in freshman year in high school, we weren't the closest of people. In fact, I think we actually almost hated each other freshman year in high school.
Yeah, that's very accurate.
Because he was more of the, you know, flashy type. You know, he came in with the scars and the red pants and the different type shirts.
It was in the time. It was
in style at the time in 2000.
This is when You're a Jerk was popular, by the way.
And I was.
My pants weren't that bright, by the way. I only had 2 pairs that were like.
had bright red pants. Back the
They were not bright, bro. They were like fucking maroon.
You matched him with a scarf.
So?
Anyway.
I was fly. I thought I was Lil Wayne.
You had a giant...
Young Moolah, baby. and the F is for phenomenal,
but it wasn't even that, though. You also had a matching Jesus-colored necklace.
The F is for phenomenal, bro.
Which I really want those necklaces, dude.
Yo, the F is for phenomenal, I'm telling you.
But, so freshman year, like we weren't that friends, but we all, you know, our shop class, video production, we sat together in lunch. And we had this one kid who him and I would always go back and forth with about politically. And everybody would look at me being the weirdo because I was talking about 9/11. Now, this is before 9/11 and George Bush did 9/11. Mm-hmm. All that started to catch traction in the world, and everybody looked at me like,
no, it was a thing. But then people just labeled it like conspiracy heads.
They all looked at me like I'm a fucking weirdo. Like he literally had.
So basically, what you're telling me, listen to my ranting almost got you shanked.
Yeah, but it was a tall white kid, and he wasn't gonna shank me. Like, he wasn't even in our class the next year. He actually left. I don't know what the fuck happened to him, but like literally, there was a whole. Shut up. There was a whole like area, and I think our sophomore year, that's when we started actually sitting together talking about different things and started becoming friendly, and you know, started talking more. When did
you guys make that award-winning Sad Eric?
Oh, that was our senior year.
That was funny as hell. I mean, that was the funniest part is I don't know what teacher you sat down, we're talking to, and you started with the volunteers, and that teacher just looked at the camera like, "What the fuck's wrong with this guy?"
Oh, that's what's his face,
Mr. B.
Yeah, Mr.
He was good. I don't know where you got him from.
Because like what's it called, Mr. B? He was about his shit, man. Like he really was like
Benequista, right?
Benequista. There we go, Mr. Benequista. Shout out to Mr. Benequista, bro.
He actually left Tech. Teresa's sophomore year
to become an actor or something.
No, he invented an app and he had to move down to Texas. So I don't know what the fuck. You know, he probably has some money.
Benequista, you was a bright man. Shout out to you.
Yeah, seriously.
He was always my favorite teacher.
But yeah, so that's the thing. And
can I get a check?
Shout out to your app, sponsored by Mr. Benequista's app. we
Please,
sat
sir,
there.
Can I have a check?
We sat there.
I was started a student.
Like seriously talking about this shit.
No, I'm sorry. That's socialism. I am not part of that. I condone that. I'll work for my own shit. America.
And now again, this is during the Obama administration, and
that's when the fireworks come back and shit. You got the
white beard,
the flag waving and shit. It's fire everywhere. Monster trucks, room. Anyways,
holding an American pie.
Wow, man.
It's apple, by the way.
Pie.
It's apple, by the way.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like Eric and I have always had this open mind friendship that we sit there and listen to each other's bullshit and respect each other's bullshit. And I think that's what we need more in this country, is to not sit there and be like, oh, if you just like Donald Trump, you're a racist.
Yeah,
or if you like Biden, you're a fucking idiot.
I have that problem with a lot of people.
Even though you are.
I would more or less say, so you approve child sniffers?
Well, I got a dear friend, a family friend that she married this guy, and basically he's
Shout
a
out
Met
to the
fan.
guy.
He's a Met fan. And I'm a Jet fan. So are we.
That's only the other one.
And we talk every once in a while.
That's the
but
one.
he's always got to say something negative about Trump, and I get it. It's your opinion. You can have whatever opinion you want, but for these last 3 years, he's been constantly berating this guy. You don't understand. He's a scumbag, and every time he says something, I said, look, I know you don't like him, but if you're going to make an accusation, just please give me proof. Well, today I put something on Facebook about this stuff. If it comes true, or something to the effect of ballots harvesting or whatever towards this, what's going on.
We're gonna ever have another repeat of what is it? Fucking Gore, whatever the fuck his name was.
Oh, Al Gore.
Al Gore.
It's going down that way. It
Al
might be
Gore
worse.
in Florida.
So he said to me,
we're gonna have a recount in 4 different states.
He asked me,
and then Donald Trump gonna win, and then the whole country gonna be like, it was cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're gonna have the riots in the street like they did. It's crazy.
They took my vote.
They took my vote. My vote count.
But that's the thing. Like I can't sit there and the only reason I go back at people is when they come at me first. Like, I don't sit there and intentionally go after people or be like, you vote for Biden, so you must be a fucking idiot. Like,
and a child sniffer.
Like the greatest post I saw today, which explains the mentality of most Biden supporters. They turn around and said, well, okay, so what? Biden's a rapist. Trump is a rapist and a racist. So I'd rather just have a rapist in the White House than a racist too. I'm like, you
plot twist. Wait for it. He's both.
Yeah,
Biden is both.
Biden is both also. Like, I'm sitting there like there's no proof on, like, okay, we have the proof on Biden. Allegedly. He said no, it's recorded. Shit.
That shit is on the record.
It's on the record in Supreme Court about him calling them super predators. It's you're not black if you don't vote for me.
Oh yeah, that was on the Breakfast Club.
All of this shit is we sit here and have it. We can bring it up. There's like boom.
Yeah.
With Trump, it's edited.
And you know what? Then again, that's the problem too, because it's just like, if you like you just said, if you go around just saying like, okay, even if you question the whole Joe Biden thing, then you're gonna be labeled a Trump supporter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's why I can't stand.
I don't
some of the people I have on social media. That's why I have backed away from social media.
Like we were
all Facebook. I can't even. I'm not even going on Facebook anymore.
It's like how Dad was saying. We're just too much independent free thinkers going up against a hive mentality right now in a hive like mob, and it sucks that we can't have a lot of people like ourselves. Then again, we wouldn't want too many people like ourselves because we're both pretty fucking crazy people. Then again, but just like on the civil part of just like sitting down and like hearing each other out and like respecting each other's opinion. I don't know. I feel like that's like becoming a lost art.
I think that's the funny part, because you look at people and they say that, but then they turn around also in the same breath. They're like, we need more civility in this country. We need this. We need that.
Yeah, but what they want is the civility they want is believe what I say, so I won't get in your face, and we can be civil.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds a lot like Castro back in Cuba.
Exactly.
You know what? That sounded a lot like that. You know. I found this out. You know why the people in Cuba, their education went up so much in fucking Cuba? Because apparently it was either you pass it was a very extreme parental mentality where it was like, you have to pass your grades or you're gonna get shot.
Lovely.
What?
Yeah.
Little Jimmy got an F.
Firing squad, bro.
Holy fuck.
And that's just an extreme example of just like how we just go back to it. Socialism just doesn't work. And then history has just proven that it doesn't work. It didn't work in the Soviet Union. But look at fucking North Korea. They're a fucking republic, quote unquote, dictatorship that's socialist. Not work. Yeah. I don't think that's working out there, bro.
The funny part is the best example that people come up with, they're like, well, Canada has universal health care. It's a form of socialism.
Mm-hmm. Canada doesn't even have the population that the U.S. has.
But it's not even that. Do you know, like, I've talked to, like, it's funny. My job, like, I maybe just be selling hats.
You're selling hats.
But I talk to people. I sell hats.
Wow.
I've talked to a lot of people coming from Canada, and they, we get to talking. They're like, yeah,
what's this about?
No, the healthcare up there sucks. I'm like, what do you mean? You have universal healthcare? It's free, right? He goes, yeah, but you're waiting days and weeks to see a doctor.
It's true.
He's like,
think about it like this. It sucks to say this too. Look at what is it, Section 8 housing? That's provided by the government. You know how much of a process you have to go through with shit like that, and it's just like how you said. Imagine if we had free or quote unquote free healthcare, because it's not free. It's coming out of everybody's taxes.
Yeah, and it's not even that. The amount. Look, Canada doesn't have the population America does.
Nope.
And you're waiting days and weeks. They have
fucking moose up there, bro.
You're waiting days and weeks to see a doctor. Like, I could be sick today and I don't see him until next week. Imagine that population with the United States. We're having a problem with the DMV right now. Yeah. Just to see people at the DMV.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know why they're not making that an online thing. Like, you can't just register your plates or anything like that online or anything like that.
Because they're fucking retards. They
can,
really
but
are.
it's.
I got to go to East Orange tomorrow just to get a copy of my.
That word we don't use on Green Hour, any Green Hour media thing. It's called Cajun. We use that word. They're what? Cajun.
Oh, what's Cajun? What did I say wrong? Cajun?
No. You said retarded. It's Cajun. We use that word.
Why?
Because it's Cajun. We don't use the word retarded.
People are sensitive and they're going to get offended.
You want to run that by me again?
People are sensitive and they're going to get offended.
Oh, they get offended because you call people retarded. Okay.
They're not. I'm sorry. They're Cajun.
I have a cousin.
Because they're stupid good.
Here's the news flash. I have a cousin who I love dearly. Okay? And he's retarded. It's not because he's bad or stupid. He's just retarded.
He's just Cajun.
You can call it, you can pepper whatever sweet word you want.
Well, no, Cajun is offensive also.
I didn't say he's a retard. I said he's mentally retarded.
No, what I'm saying is that, people mostly from like the Cajun areas are like a little slow. So they're
oh shit, so we're being fucked up too.
Now
all right.
15 people we had in Louisiana.
So can we just say retard then?
I like the word Cajun though.
It does sound it does have a nice ring to it.
Yeah, come on.
Anyway, let's speed this up. I want to get out of here. I want to get done.
Oh yeah, so we're almost done. But yeah, so to cap it off,
capitalism is good.
Socialism is bad.
Fucked up my whole train of thought.
But so as I'm looking at the map right now,
I was gonna say, how's the election still going?
Everything is still
at a
status quo. They're still counting votes in Nevada.
1 vote, 2 vote. You miscounted. 1 vote.
The point I wanted to get to before, and this will be the last point, and hopefully it'll take less than 10 minutes.
Is that a B or a T?
I want to know why.
Count it again.
I want to know why some states within a minute they'll call with less than 1% in.
I don't know. It might be controlled, man.
And then states you have now with 99% in.
I don't know, man. It might be controlled.
Have not called.
Because they'll tell you that, well, we know that this county, that county, this county, that county doesn't have enough votes to overtake the guy that's in the lead now, so we're going to call the whole state. Here's another point I wanted to bring up earlier about the electoral college. Fucking California fucks up this election every year.
California is just
okay. It's a fucking bumper zone. All right, you got 55 votes in California. That takes in basically New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Carolina, and Georgia. That's the amount. Now, you add all them up together. So now in those things, you can have, if they would split that into 4 different regions, you're not going to get one guy that's going to win 55. You're going to get one guy that might win 2. So if he gets, so instead of, you have 1 at 11, 1 at 12, 1 at 15 or whatever, then you can, the same state, but make it easier for people, but they won't do it. And that's where Republicans are stupid, because they should break up California and break it up to a point where you don't win the entire prize.
I think at one point I heard California mentioning that they wanted to be a North and South California or something like that.
I would do it. I would do it in a heartbeat, because Northern California generally is Republican. Southern California is generally Democrat.
Yeah, because you have, you got LA County.
Yeah, and so I'm looking at the map right now for California. And
there's a lot of people in those 2.
Literally everything north above Sacramento
is red.
The only things that are blue are basically the coastline.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
You have a couple counties above Los Angeles and under Fresno that are red. But the problem I have here also is the only...
Can we talk about the scare tactics that a lot of these parties did?
Well, yeah. The problem I have, though, is the only thing that is red right now. Now, California is only 66% counted, reported.
Jesus Christ.
66. And Biden has basically a 4 million vote lead. Mm-hmm. So that's only coming from the big cities. It's coming from Sacramento, San Francisco, Fresno, and L.A.
Mm-hmm. That's just L.A. County, right?
Yeah. Well, no. They're different counties where all these cities are. I'm talking about Los Angeles, the city.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The problem is that I'm looking at, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 counties that are fully counted.
Right.
And there's, I don't know how many counties in Los Angeles. The problem here is when you look at it, every county that has those big name cities are all blue and they're all not done counting, but he has a 4 million vote lead.
Mm-hmm. That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. And the problem with that is that when you have 55 electoral votes, which 99% of the time goes Democratic for that state.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't even know when the last time California was red.
Remember, it was in the 60s, maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to say I don't know.
Yeah, that's my problem with the Electoral College to begin with.
It's a foregone conclusion. The guy that's running the Democratic Party only has to take California. 10 states.
Yeah.
You take 10. New York's a gimme. Yeah. New Jersey, Massachusetts, Kentucky. Connecticut. So you don't have to win as much. You really don't. And then you pick up Nevada and you pick up Arizona. That's why I said Arizona was very important. When that went, it was a disaster. But you don't have to pick up much. You already got 50. You're not even starting the night and you're 55 already in the head. So if you split that fucking thing up, you'd be fine.
The big ones that have the most electoral votes, New York has 29. Excuse me.
Well, they have to do something about New York City too, because they have to separate that somehow.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at basically most of, again, for this state, again, it goes mostly red, and all the big name cities, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, and New York City, all are blue. All their counties are blue.
I know, John.
So in the urban areas, you're good. That's why you see all these people. They're going because his biggest rallies are in Philadelphia. They're in New York City. They're in Buffalo. They're in Rochester. They're in Pittsburgh. That's the problem. And I think that's bullshit, because if most of your state is red, I don't give a fuck what the vote count is. It should go by county.
No, but then again, it's just like how we were just talking about earlier. It's just going to create more conflict within the state itself, because it's just going to show people that, like, okay, my vote doesn't count.
But it does count, because your county voted and most of your county went.
No, exactly. And then that's the thing where it's just like, it's going to be something where they're going to try to fight against like these urban cities where they're just so densely populated, because it's just like, again, I feel like, again, it's just more hive mentality in a urban population, because it's just like it doesn't really take it honestly really doesn't take much to just tip the scales one way or another in a large city.
What you need mostly is you need
a lot of propaganda.
You need
a lot of propaganda.
Put your finger on what people have the cause for, and right now,
what are people afraid, and what do people hate the most?
Right now, that is Black Lives Matter. That is one of the biggest hot topics, and the coronavirus. You have.
I will say that it does suck that I found out that the Black Lives Matter party itself, or if you want to call it a party, is in fact funded. Organization is in fact funded by the said Democratic people, which is why I wanted to talk about that, because like it's really interesting, because if you think about it, then they're just using this as a tactic on top of whatever riots are still going on.
Yeah,
if they're still happening again, I don't know. I've been disconnected for a while now.
But see, where are those big riots happening though?
In urban cities,
where Biden's
where again it's just when you start looking at shit like that, it's just like, where is this making sense, and why aren't people picking this up? That's the real big problem.
Nothing's making sense. Not a damn thing.
Well,
all right, you want to wrap this up, John?
Yeah, I think we'll.
I still can't believe that this is real.
So we'll see you guys next week. So next week we have a couple things going on. Starting filming on our project for Thanksgiving, and I don't know what next week's topic is, Dad.
Well, we got it because of everything. We'll shift it around, and maybe it might be Area 51 next week.
Yeah, so Area 51 will be next week. So thank you guys for joining, and Josh, we miss you.
I love you.
We'll see you next week. And Eric, you're going to be calling in next week, right?
Right, US will be calling in.
All right, so good night, guys.
Good night, everybody.
I love you.